Baby, why don't you kiss me this way? Want you to feel all of my body. I want you to love me. Oh, yeah. Kiss me, baby. Put your lips on mine. Yeah, yeah. Baby, won't you come on and kiss me? Baby girl, close to me. Kiss me.
Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Bringing it back, bringing lyrics to life. We in here. We excited to spotlight our guests on tonight, but you know how we do it. We gonna introduce everybody and do a local check-in. So what's up, Naya? How you doing tonight?
Here.
Reese, what's going on with you?
I don't think we want the honest.
You look fly. You look fly. Glasses is on point. You know, Reese always doing her thing. Our special guest on tonight is, we're gonna go by R. Lewis.
Yes, sir.
What's up with you, man?
What's going on, man? I'm doing good.
That's phenomenal. So we're gonna jump right into it. We got a lot to talk about tonight. This young man has a lot to say, a lot to introduce to us and to you all. We was just chatting just a little bit when we first started, and I learned some things I didn't even know. So so we're just gonna jump right into it. So Reese, hit us with the lyrics.
Alright. First verse. I never thought that I would want someone to give me everything you give, babe. I like it this way. I never thought that I would need someone to give me everything you give, babe. I like it this way.
So first and foremost, tell us, who is R. Lewis? Who is he?
Excuse me. I'm branching out. I'm trying something new. Everybody formerly knows me as Randall Potter. I had a group, Harmony. Then I still do my solo stuff. I don't want to say I had, because I still, go by Randall Potter. I still do gospel music. But as R. Lewis, I'm an individual. I'm a creative. I just love to sing good music, feel good music, music that tells the truth, whether it be about love, whether it be about heartbreak. I just want to sing about it and be honest with those, with the people that can relate, with that kind of music.
Okay. So you're one and the same, and just being a creative artist, just
That's
doing
right.
what artists should be doing, and
Yes,
allowing
sir.
music to do what music does.
Right.
Okay, so we're not boxing in by genre. We're not limiting ourselves. We're branching out.
No, I've wasted so many years of allowing people to box me in, where I was always told you'll never be successful
Wow.
in another type of genre. You're only good in gospel music, and these are things that people have really honestly said to me, and
Wow.
for a long time that stuck with me, and so I was so afraid to branch out to do other things, but I'll never forget having a conversation with my grandmother before she passed, and she told me if you are a true lover of music, you're not going to allow anyone to just categorize you in one style of music. You love music, you'll love all kinds of music. You'll do all kinds of music, and so.
Well, shout outs to Grandmama. May she
That's
rest
right.
in peace.
Yes, sir.
But she definitely gave some sound wisdom there.
Yeah.
That's good wisdom for all creators, because it's very easy to get boxed in, and be influenced by the influence of others, especially when you trying to find your way in whatever field that you're in. So that's what's up. Tell us how the song came about, though.
So the song was written by my my little sister. She has a book that she released back in August. The book is called Love Just Isn't Enough. And so there's a specific chapter in the book of the two characters, and the song kind of comes in play where the male character is basically after the female character. And this was her way of introducing the song as his way of trying to connect with the young lady in the story. She came across a rhythm, a beat, and she just put the pen to the paper, created the song.
Nice.
And so when I heard the song, I asked her if it was a way that I could enhance it, add some stuff to it, because it was also relatable to me. When I was in a specific relationship with a young lady, it gave me the same kind of, it reminded me of the feeling that I had when I was in that relationship.
You now is your sister still singing?
She's
Dippy
more into
dabby,
writing.
More into writing
yeah.
now. Okay, the Potter house.
Yeah.
Y'all are very talented over there.
Thank you.
Wow, that's interesting. I think it's dope. One thing that actually we all share on this set is we actually have a connection with a sibling to where we can be creative, respect each other's creativity, and work together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is phenomenal that y'all were able to connect and add to her book, and then even bring a whole song out of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Because we're working on that. My sister's a book
awesome.
writer, and we're working on writing albums to her books.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, that's what's up. See, what's that? Okay, so you were in a relationship.
Right.
So let me get Dr. Phil on you, right? So you were in a relationship. Tell us how the relationship was. I mean, because past tense was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you hear this song, which is I like the sound to it. It almost kind of got like a Christmas love feel to it, you know? Yeah, it got that kind of like.
It's that switch of music when stuff ain't going right.
That sit around the fireplace type. You know what I mean? It got that little vibe to it.
Now, in my instance, when it's not going right, you driving like.
I know, right, I was going to say, or you driving down the highway with your windows down in the middle of the winter. Negative 10 degrees and you screaming out the window.
Drive safe, people.
Oh man, it definitely got a nice vibe to it. So tell us about this relationship. The feelings that's incorporated in the song.
Turn my mic off. Turn my mic off.
As far as the relationship goes, so I was in a relationship with this young lady, whom I love very, very much. But saying you love someone and then showing you love someone is two totally different things. So you can say you love someone all you want, but
Right.
it doesn't matter if you don't show that you love, that person. And so she was definitely underappreciated, if that's even a word. But
Yeah.
she I didn't value her enough.
Brandon.
And so then when she walked away, I, then at that point it was just like, wow, I just lost. I hear people say you come in contact. Sometimes you come in contact with your person or who God sends you, who you supposed. And I believe that's who my person was.
Did you send her the song? Can you win her back?
Well, what's crazy is after 3-4 years, we did reconnect. So we are, we're in a place where we're speaking now. You know what I
Okay.
mean? We're in a decent place. But I fault myself for that. Every day. I put other things before her. My friends were more important. My music was more important. Traveling was more important. You know what I mean?
Right.
All those different things. And then when she's no longer there, then you start to realize, you messed up, or at least that's what I realized.
Right. Reese, what you got?
What makes y'all do that? Explain that to me.
I don't know, but I know that I will never make that mistake again.
I have a question. Is it because you thought she wasn't gonna go nowhere, so you was like, she'll be all right?
I don't think that I didn't think that she wouldn't go anywhere, but I definitely had got comfortable. And so I felt like I didn't have to work as hard. You know what I mean?
You felt secure.
Right.
Right.
So should we act up regularly? Should we do that?
Act up.
To
You
keep
can get
y'all-
smacked up.
I think honestly, I really think it comes with maturity. As far as the male is concerned,
Oh God, this could be forever.
I feel like that's just how I feel. As I got older, I realized, I think at the time we started dating, I was 26. I'm 30 now. So, you know what I mean? I realized my mistakes then, at the time. Like, she'll be there. You know what I mean? She's not going nowhere. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
So you said 3 years later, like, you didn't have no urgency to fix it before then?
I did.
Did you say anything?
I tried, but my approach was not the correct approach. Because my approach was, I apologize, and then I just expected
I
her.
apologize, but
It wasn't even so much about, it was an I apologize, and so
then you
now
just
that I
expected
apologize,
to-
I
yeah,
expect
you
you
expected
to,
for
you know what I
things
mean?
to
And it's like, it doesn't
pick
work
up
that
where we
way.
left
Right.
off.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way, so yeah, it took time, and it wasn't a good feeling at all. So it definitely took time.
Timing is very important, and just to try to help my sisters out, we also do that where we have our own expectations, and like he said, a lot of times people apologize because it's not easy to apologize, especially when you're a man and you're having to swallow your pride and put your ego to the side and admit that you were wrong. So it is that expectation, like, okay, I've gone through all of this to give you this apology, like, now I need this in return. I want you back, so this is where we at. But for my sisters, I want y'all to understand that timing is important, and men take longer to mature. Like, that's just scientific facts, unfortunately. And even if they are hurt after you're gone, it's not immediate most of the time that they're going to be like, okay. Because even if they know that they were wrong, sometimes they try to fix it with something else or someone else before they even circle back, because they're not ready to admit that they were wrong, or they're not ready to be where it is that they know they need to be in order to keep you, in order to get you back. So I just wanted to try to help, because it seems like girls have a hard time with that one.
I don't know if this is off or not. So let me just flip the script. How and why is it that it's always the men apologizing though?
Because you see,
even
not in my case.
even in cases where we're not wrong, it's always the man apologizing and trying to make up for something that we didn't even do. Why and how is that?
I can't relate, Doc.
I,
I'd be the one trying to piece that stuff together, and I don't even be the one tearing it up.
I've seen it on both ends where men apologize and women apologize, but I think as far as the man is concerned, the man is the head, and so I've learned that somebody has to be the bigger person. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and
I feel you. However, but sometimes I get tired of being the bigger person.
oh, definitely.
I
Especially when I feel like I'm constantly having to suppress my feelings. It's almost like in a relationship, a man can't honestly express how he really feels about something, because it always leads to an argument. So we're always apologizing. We're always tiptoeing around stuff and stepping on and over glass. And it's like,
My name must
When-
be Rick,
Cause
when do
that's big.
when am I ever heard? Like, when do I ever get to express my feelings? You know what I'm saying?
So, like he was saying, it's a maturity thing. That's not a gender-based thing. Like, both parties have to be
So you're
in a
saying
mature
the women are
space.
immature?
Women need to be in a mature space to be able to admit that they are wrong. And there was something else you said I was going to respond to.
Well, I will say for the females I've seen that are like that, because you've read text messages. See, people think because I sit on here and I'm comical and people know they can't really screw with me. They have no idea how I really am in my relationship. Like, Christian was like, I was kind of surprised that, yeah, because I'm not a monster. But I will say for the females that I've watched it, I think there is this, you know, the feminism movement is, God bless it, it's a great thing, the feminist thing, but it has made a lot of monsters. And I think for a lot of women there is this complex where I don't know, where we've been taught y'all supposed to kiss our butt almost to an extent.
Yes.
Like
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I see with other females. It's like this, like you supposed to kiss their butt, almost like, I feel like it's probably more so with females who are very close with their dads, because they were used to being the little princess.
Mm-hmm.
So when they get in a relationship, I think it carries over and they feel like somebody is just supposed to bend to their... I see a lot of brats,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of female brats, and it bothers me as a female because I'm always the one apologizing, even when I'm not wrong. I'm the one who is super mad, and then I gotta argue all the way riding everywhere in my car because I can't say it to you, because if I say any of this, then somehow I wind up apologizing because me having feelings is an issue for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for the females that I see, it's there's this brattiness. But they the ones with men. That's what's blowing my ish. They the ones that got somebody.
So let's go back to episode 1 with I Wish. Because that's the issue. And even when you were saying, you know, everything, it seems like everything a man says is interpreted wrong. Basically, it's that issue where women or females are raised a certain way and males are raised a different way, and eventually it's this assumption that we are just going to be able to cohabitate, and that's just so unrealistic. Women are taught to believe certain things that are unrealistic. Men are taught to believe certain things that are unrealistic, and that's where these expectations come in, and we are set up for failure. Our relationships are set up for failure. So even with the father thing, it's like for those of us, for many of us who do know our fathers, he's the disciplinarian. So think of a young man whose only example of an adult man is, I have to holler and scream to show you that I love you, or I'm putting my hands on you. But then you expect for this young man to grow up to be a loving, caring, nurturing, mature man. How is that happening? Like, where was he taught how to do that? So these are some of the issues that we have as a society where we're just setting each other up to fail.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like at some point people have to use their brains, and this is what I mean by that. How can I word this? Because I know I don't lie, so I got to figure out how I'm gonna tell the truth tactfully.
Tell the truth.
I will say that for what I saw as younger, I never was like, this is what it is, so that's what I want. Like, my thing is, where do people get common sense and just be able to tell what's good, what's bad? So I'll do that, but I don't want that. I don't want it. Like, this whole thing where we just, whatever we saw when we were young, that's what we do or go. That makes no sense to me. Like, when you get old enough to realize something is wrong with this. Like, I don't want that. I want to be like that. Something's wrong with it. The thing where we just replicate it. Like, I get it, but then I don't. It's like, y'all grow up and get a brain. Like, where do you get when does common sense kick in and say no?
But there was
it ain't
something,
common to everyone.
Right, exactly. And there was something along the way that made you think differently. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to, like, really dig deep and figure out what that was, because, like, empathy for me came later in life. So now I'm, like, super empathetic. Having children is what gave me empathy. And so now I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But now I can try to understand that that we can't expect for people to know things that they were never taught. And like sometimes because we didn't necessarily have, I'll speak for myself, I didn't have examples of who I wanted to be and what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do when I was growing up, or what I should do. And I don't know what it was inside of me or what happened along the way that made me see, okay, this is wrong and we're not doing that. I don't know what that was. But I do understand that on the other side of it, there was somebody who grew up like I did, who went the exact same way that they saw growing up. So I understand that, but not everybody has that in them to say, okay, this is wrong and this is right, because it's like he said, like, common sense isn't common to everybody. And some people aren't able to acquire it along the way. Yeah. Some people just haven't been introduced to it. Some people it's a complete foreign concept. Yeah. So
some might never get it.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I just think about me, my brother, and my sister, and how we have the same parents, and we have the same traumas, and we all grew up the same way,
and
but we are so different,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like the way we handle things are different. The way we think is different. Like, and it's something along the way is what made us become these people.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know what that is.
I would like to see people, my thing, because I'm all with Naya always brings the psychological aspect, and I like it, but then it annoys me, because it just be like, well, when y'all just gonna own it? Like, all right, I don't want to say that. So,
you know what I think though, for me, I'm an advocate for therapy. I really do want people to know what their traumas are, to know what their triggers are, and to really seek help. But the issue becomes, if I don't know that this is wrong, if I don't know that this is not okay, if I don't know that I need help, then am I going to ask for it? That's where the issue for me comes in, because I really just want. I mean, I can't expect that. I can't want that for you if you can't even identify it for yourself, that's a need there.
You know what's funny? I was just having a conversation with someone this morning about a relationship that I was in, to where I expressed and shared what my triggers were from trauma. Mm-hmm. And she used them against me.
Oh, that was... There we are.
Like I told her, like, I don't like this word. When you say this, it gets a rise out of me. When you do this, it makes me want to. And she would do these things on purpose, just to get a rise out of me.
I'm gonna need some distance. That's me. I'm going over here. Like, all right, appreciate you for showing me that. Like, I be thankful for people showing me who they are. Like, I be needing it. Because, listen, I'm not one that give you the benefit of the doubt until one of us is blue in the face. I won't say from why. But but I'd rather go left before the situation goes left. No, sorry.
So, going back to the lyrics, so we're talking about, and it's funny because how I captioned the show was, I said, instead of doing it my way or your way, let's do it this way. And it just brings that line of meet me here, and then let's build from here, as opposed to, and it's crazy because it seems like lately I've been talking to the same conversation about false expectations. Mm-hmm. Like, people come into relationships, any type of relationships, friendships, intimate relationships, whatever, with these expectations, like, you my boo, I expect this of you. Mm-hmm. I'm your girl, I expect, like, but we never have a conversation on what the expectation is. Mm-hmm. So I'm operating and moving how I operate and move. You moving how you moving, but we have a whole disconnect because you have an expectation that I'm not meeting because I just don't even know.
Yep. So people ask me for whatever reason. People ask me about relationships all the time, and this is where I'm at with it. And for whatever reason, people get confused by this show. And when me and Reese be having conversations, I'm more so just trying to help her out. Like, I have no interest in relationships, but this is why. Because of the way that I grew up, because of the relationships that I've had throughout my lifetime, and I'm talking about specifically with my family, with my friends, with my partners. This is why I feel like I cannot sustain a healthy relationship because I don't know how. I haven't been taught how. I haven't experienced a healthy relationship. I haven't even witnessed a healthy relationship. So in order for me to want to be in a relationship, and I'm not talking necessarily romantically, I'm talking friendship-wise, healthy relationship with family, I need to be able to set my own standards and boundaries. I need you to remove gender expectations. I need you to remove the stipulations of whatever. Okay, so in a friendship, these are the things that we should do for each other. No. I need for us to be able to come up with our own standards and understandings instead of what society has told you this relationship should consist of, because that's not going to work for me. It's just not. So not everybody's there though, so that's why I'm cool over here in my own little corner, in my own little chair. No, because people just genuinely don't understand that you literally come in, even if you're unconsciously aware that you don't even know or you don't even recognize that you have these expectations when you're going into certain situations. If you can't even admit that to yourself, you can't admit it to me, and we're starting off wrong. Period. Like, we have to know what these expectations are so we can remove them and set our own standards and boundaries, because otherwise it just ain't gonna work. That's just me.
I had, when I was with one of the fools that I was with, his brother said to me, and I still remember it to this day, and I must say it does help. He said, you take what I call the perfect pill. He said, this is what females do. I said, what's that mean? He said, you ruin the visit or the date or the time spent together before you ever get there. He said, because you got this perfect way you want everything to go when you get there. He was like, you got to stop doing that. Especially because his brother was just a dickhead, so it was never going to go that way. I mean, that was probably the best advice he could have ever gave me, because that man was horrible. However, now I kind of just be open to the fact that I'm glad you're going to spend time with me, so however it go. Now, I mean, some things are just no longer acceptable, so praise God. But I have learned how to not already in my mind make it like it's going to be this way.
You didn't practice the conversation before they got
Yeah,
there.
that I've learned how to stop doing that. Now I argue with them after they leave many times in my head. I have that. I do that repeatedly, but I've learned to kind of just be like, all right, this is cool, because I used to like set it up in my head how it was gonna go, and it never went that way. I every time I left that man's house, I think I was with him 6 years. I think I left maybe 3 times without crying. But he was horrible. Like, every time I left there, I was upset. And the crazy thing was, I knew I was crazy. I was like, why are you doing this? It's like, you the one. The sad thing is, you the crazy one, because you're not happy. He's terrible. And you just can't get enough, sis. Like, you need the lobotomy. Like, what is going on? I used to have my mom crying because it happened with another guy. I just loved him so much. I said, you know what's crazy, Mommy? I said, I'm the one that needs the lobotomy. I said, because he's terrible and I know it. And for some reason, I just can't be without this horrible man. And she used to bust out laughing. But it was the truth. But this is why people get on my nerves when they're not aware, because I'm honest with myself. Like, I was like, you the crazy one. Because he's horrible and you just can't get enough. When he ain't around, you can't hardly breathe. What is wrong with you, sis? Like, I used to get on my own nerves. Like, what is your problem? And then you realize sometimes you just don't want to be by yourself. That be what it is. You just don't want to be alone, so you tolerate stuff.
You settle.
But that's another correct. But that's another show.
You settle.
Okay, back to the song. Do y'all want? Let's have this conversation.
Oh.
Is it? Excuse me. Do y'all ever want somebody to tell you, do it this way? I had a man tell me I wasn't the one who did it. But he told me he didn't like when a female instructed him. So is this just a figure of speech? Are we just saying like, oh, we just want to be in love? Or are we literally saying like, tell me to do it this way? Like, is that on the table, or do y'all really not want
That's a good question of the artist. Tag, you're it.
So I dated another female who she had to wear the pants. She had to. It was this way. We're going here. We're doing this. I'm buying you this. And anybody that knows me, I don't need anybody to buy me anything. I don't need you to tell me. You know what I mean? Like, it was too much. It was entirely too
entirely.
much. And it
drove you crazy.
Crazy.
Oh God.
Okay.
There would be times where she would. Perfect example. I don't even know. I can't even remember what year it was. 2014, 2015. I don't know. These Jordans had just come out, and I think she overheard me on the phone talking to one of my friends about me going to get them, and so a couple days later, she shows up, and she has the Jordans in her hand. I'm like, what are you doing? Why do you have these? And oh, I knew you wanted them, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I told you already before, I don't need you to buy me anything. And,
You didn't like that?
I didn't like it because I didn't want it to come across as if I was in a relationship to get anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was that type of person. The family was that type of person. Like, he's with you because, you can get the, and I was surviving without her before. That's just the type of family they were. And so, told her to take them back. She took them.
Oh, I know that crushed her.
Apparently not. I come home the next day, go to my room, and the sneakers are in my room. How did they get in my room? Because my mom let her in. I'm like, Mom, why would you let her in? And so from that moment, then it's other stuff, and it's trying to buy other, and I literally would give everything back. Somehow it would end up to the point where I just was like, I cannot do this no more. It was the overbearing. It was the, I'm staying over here. I'm going to be here with you for hours. You can't do this. You can't go. And
all these rules and
I couldn't do it.
expectations.
So let's ask it this way. What is the way to say, like, kiss me this way? Like, what's the way to have that conversation with y'all and that goes with them? Like, what's a way you can have that conversation that would actually turn you on?
I was going to say, I'm okay with a little aggression, but I don't need you to feel like you have to wear the pants in a relationship.
Right. Aggression with submission.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're not answering.
I'm going to answer the question. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this, but I really don't know.
I've never been instructional.
Here we go. So a manipulative woman knows how to get things by way of suggestions. So, like, he used the example of she overheard me on the phone. So now it's not safe to even have a conversation because you're listening into my conversations and now you're just doing. I didn't want you to, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes people get encouragement and motivation off of being able to do for themselves. So now you just took that from me. It was a nice gesture, thank you, but you just took that from me. You robbed me of that moment, right? Some women who are manipulative are very good with giving suggestive measures. They'll be like, we should have Thanksgiving dinner and we host it here this year. And then I'll be like, oh, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. I'll make the turkey. All right, cool. Well, since you got the turkey, Reese, what you gonna bring? Randall, what you gonna make? Naya, what you gonna do? And she done tasked everybody with something and it didn't take no responsibility on her end. You feel me? So in a suggestive way, she got what she wanted and gave nothing. You can be aggressive and you can say something specifically because you said more so of a intimate moment of a way to entice the man. So you can say something along the lines of, babe, when you kiss me like this, I like it, but if you would do this, I would really enjoy that. And then it'd be like, okay, let's try it. And then because what most people don't, I'll speak for me, intimacy is art. So the moment that I get a positive response and a positive reaction, not only am I going to pay more attention to that moment, but now I'm going to perfect it. So now I'm going to go the extra mile. You understand what I'm saying? So if I see that you're enjoying something, got it, mental note. She enjoys this, so this is what I'm going to do next time. But next time, I'm not just going to do it that way. I'm going to try it this way to even perfect it and make it better. So there's ways where you can be aggressive but still have some submission and just some ladyisms to it. Like there's no need for women to come off beating on their chest. That's not attractive. You know what I'm saying? So for you to come off and be like, well, why don't you do it like this? Now I'm like, you ratchet, nagging thing. Like, you done took a good, sweet, nice moment, and you done got on my nerves. Now I don't want to touch you, kiss you, or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now you just killed it. Right. Like, yeah, you can shut up and go. Netflix and chill is over. Have a good night.
Can I tell you, I have had, hopefully this ain't too much for the Saints, but I don't lie, so we here now. I have had men very upset with me because, well, we're here now. I'm a talented individual, and they had a blast, and I guess they figured I never launched. So, there has, like, they've been upset.
And we'll be back after this commercial break.
It has created argument. I never said anything. They will call or text later, and it's like, well, you're not enjoying this. And I didn't know how to. Men don't want to be told you're terrible at it, and they also don't really want you to tell them exactly what to do. So it's just like, well, what you're supposed to do. And they get more angry because I won't really say nothing. The few times I do say something, then it's like, well, do you want to fix it or not? Because I didn't say that it was a problem. You have this issue. You upset because I'm the star of the show, and I guess you feel like you're not getting no gold stars. So I just was curious, since we was talking about Kiss Me This Way. I was just curious if y'all wanted to be too. I only in my life can you get in trouble because you great, and you not holding up your end, so now you mad at me because I'm like, where does that happen at? Only in the land of misfit toys can this BS happen. But I've had whole arguments over that. I never complained. I never nothing. But they had a blast. I didn't launch, so now we gotta argue. At one time, I let him read one of them, and he was like, "Reese, you can't say that." Well, what can I say? I mean, if you want to fix it or not. You upset because this is not happening. So then I tell you, and Christian was like, "You can't say that." I was like, "Well, I can't nobody do the job."
But even how the song goes, it almost has a seduction type to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This I'm
So-
on topic for y'all. You know, exile me from church. I am on the topic. Praise the Lord.
So she could say it just like that in a seductive manner, like whisper it in his ear, kiss me like this. You know what I mean? Like that changes the whole. Why you laughing? That changes the whole moment because now it's like, oh, we about to hit blast off. We about to launch. You know what I mean? Like it takes you somewhere else
So we
mentally.
gotta psychologically big y'all up.
I tell you all my sisters that all the time. I mean, men don't admit it, but we are very emotional people. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you gotta build him up. You gotta make him feel secure and boost his confidence. Men are so hard on themselves that I believe, I mean, literally, most men naturally just have a low self-esteem. They'll never admit it. They'll never even realize it. But if you listen to how men talk, constantly belittling themselves. Constantly.
So, I was quiet for a reason, and I should stay quiet, but we're here now, like she said. And just give me a second. So, I can't relate because and I'm not going to say who told
You
me
say
this.
can or can't?
I cannot, because I'm not going to say who told me this, but my birds and the bees conversation was, you're both there to have a good time, so if one of you isn't, then you should let them know.
But I was having a good time. They were upset because they had the best time. And
Put talking to your mic.
The issue wasn't that I wasn't having a good time. The issue was
He finished first.
and I wasn't finishing at all or arriving.
So, first of all, communication is
His flight
key.
departed.
And,
She
but
was at
also,
baggage claim.
not just in this situation, but in general, when you're having a conversation with a man, it can't ever sound like a criticism. So whatever it is that y'all are trying to conversate about, make sure it's digestible to him. Like, make sure it's in a way that he can receive it, because if at any moment he feels like it's a critique, he's going to shut down or he's going to get defensive. Yeah. That's just from experience. I'm not saying this is 100% accurate. I'm just saying that's what I've seen with men. So in any situation where you're wanting to have a conversation to help them grow, because that's what we do as women, we want to help them grow, then it has to be in a way that he can receive it without becoming defensive or shutting down or feeling like he's being criticized.
Are you referring to a helpmate?
The crazy thing,
I always tell people it's all about the approach. That's how I feel. The approach is what matters to me.
and the crazy thing was I wasn't critiquing. Christian yelled at me because it was about a specific thing, and I was like, babe, I was cool with it like that. He was like, but I'm not cool with it. And so I was like, honestly, if that's important to you, I was like, then I'll say that I'm more into this than this. And Christian was like, you can't say that. I'm like, well, I mean, do you want to fix the lie? I didn't bring it up. I didn't critique it. I didn't. What the heck? Like, I've never seen situations where I literally am the fly on the wall, and yet the fly created the problem in the room. Like, how does that happen? It was crazy.
think about last week's episode. You're in a relationship where y'all were still in the first verse. You're in a relationship where both of y'all are bosses, right? And then it almost creates a competitiveness, right? So now take that same mentality, that same type of functionality in the relationship now into the bedroom. So now neither one of y'all are launching, but the two of you are both trying to accomplish the same task of getting the other to the launch pad. It creates now again just this continuous competitiveness of, I'm not going to launch until you launch. And then now everybody's just, and then that's a whole nother conversation now. That's almost an argument of literally now everybody is now beating themselves. Well, I don't please you. Well, you don't please me. Well, and now it creates a whole nother type of atmosphere in the relationship.
And that's what I be saying as far as why I'm sitting in my own little corner in my own little chair, because who has time for all of this, bro? Like, if we are not if we can't have a conversation to get both of us to where we trying to go, then I'm going. Like, this is too much. Like, why is this taking so much energy and effort? Like, I'm not finna argue with you about something that you have a problem with.
Correct.
No.
Correct.
This is not my problem. And we're not finna make your problem my problem. Either we gonna solve your
problem.
But listen, if you're not gonna allow me to help you solve our problem, then it's your problem and you need to fix it or I'm out. Like, what's
And
happening?
I had the same problem with more than one person. I've never seen where a chick being dope in that area caused so many problems. I was just like, are y'all serious?
Because men are egotistical. Yeah. So our ego and pride says it goes back to what you were saying. We were raised to providing and pleasing.
But I was pleased. I can't help it if
But
I
society says
like
the sign of pleasing is the launch.
I was saying in his eyes
he failed. Absolutely.
And one of them, that was the word he used.
Yes.
He said, but I failed. I was like, I had a great time. No, but I failed. And
because I can't leave your house and go to my boys and
Yeah.
talk about all that I did when I didn't and I failed.
Yeah.
So then when the question comes up, now it's an awkward, uncomfortable conversation at the bar. Bro, so did you?
So why don't you
Yeah.
just brag about the fact that she's great?
No, because
That's
then
not
that
what
sends
no
then
guy
that
can
then
do.
that sends them to you. No.
All right.
No.
That's not what they do.
This ain't pimps in the pulpit. What's wrong with you?
All these are past relationships. Not anything that's going on now. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus.
Nah, he got to keep that, and that's the thing. Even with guys, when we're talking with the guys, we're strategic in that conversation because we give enough to make us look good, but we don't give enough to make you look like a star to make them look at you a certain way.
That stinks. Cause when I don't have. Good,
So when you leave
when I
us, then
have
you end
these-
up with one.
But when I had these conversations, like, it's a shame, but the closest thing I got to girls is like Christian and my brother. When I have these conversations, like, if he killed, I say he killed. Like, I think it's terrible that y'all can't say that.
But honestly, if it was females that you were talking to, I wouldn't say that that's safe
No,
to do
no,
either.
not because they'll call them.
Right.
That's the,
Right.
That's the whole situation we have in here.
What's his Instagram? What's his Facebook?
Right now they in his inbox. What he look like? Pull him up again? No, no way. And meanwhile, she in his inbox.
Oh, he looks familiar.
Right.
I know him.
That's exactly what
Oh, Lord. Oh, God.
it is. Yeah.
I can't.
He dating my cousin on my dad's side.
Right. It's always a
gonna be a bunch of
connection.
stories.
Always.
It's gonna be a bunch of stories.
They make that thing work.
I actually learned to stop talking about relationships with people because I got tired of that. Like, if I mentioned who I was with, everybody always had a story. It was like, okay, so don't tell y'all is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I've lost friends now. I couldn't talk about it because Reese Siren always finds herself in these situations. I thank the Lord because I decided I'm no longer getting involved in love triangles, squares, hexagons, octagons. But I used to always be in some kind of something. But I've lost friends because I wouldn't talk about what was going on with me because it was too complicated. It was too much going on. And females are so used to telling like everything that because I couldn't and wouldn't, like they stopped banging with me. Like that was probably the last time I really tried to make a female friend because they were upset because I wasn't talking about it. It was terrible.
So sad.
So since we had the first verse,
The good news is his verses is like 2 lines, so
yeah.
you know. This is probably the most on topic we've stayed though. Ironically enough.
So let me ask you this. So where you are now, y'all are in a talking place. Has she heard the song?
She has.
What was her response to the song?
So because we're in the talking phase, like we're cordial again, doesn't necessarily mean that she's
Y'all
over
gonna be there. Yeah.
what what happened.
You
or-
must have been really bad and terrible to her.
No, it wasn't. I can't say. I'm not in her shoes. You know what I mean? Outside looking in, I could say it wasn't that bad, but I'm not her. You know what I mean? So, but she's heard the song and she tried. I think she tries to play it cool. She's just like, oh, it's nice, and so it's been left at that. I try not to push any buttons or try to go too far because that was my issue before. After apologizing, I was on her so much to where it was a turn off. And so I learned to just stay in my place and check on her here and there and, keep it at that until, she's ready to, I guess, let me back in her space. I don't want to force myself back in her space,
Right.
So.
Something must be wrong with me.
Why you say something wrong with you?
It must be something wrong with me.
There's something wrong with all of us. We all have issues. We all have issues.
Because maybe the guys I've been with have shaped it, But if somebody that I really wanted to be with, but they were not good to me, if they apologize, like, I'll let you back, because I'm so used to them.
I was going to say,
they
you're
won't even
used
apologize.
to, right, because you're used to the non-apology. The apology
Goes
makes you,
a long way with me.
Yeah.
I this is what I will say. All things work together for the good. The one thing I'll give the Lord is He takes the longest route, but it do make sense once it be done. What I will say is I think I am more appreciative to men for the right that they do because of all the wrong that's been done to me. So I think sometimes females don't, if you have that, again, that brat girl mentality where you feel like, well, that's what they're supposed to do, but that doesn't mean that's what all of them do. And even if he's supposed to do it, at least he's doing what he's supposed to do. Like, I don't get this thing where because they're doing what they're supposed to do, I don't need to appreciate it. No, when they're doing what they're supposed to do, that's what you're supposed to appreciate.
Right.
So I don't like the way my love life has gone. The Lord told me stop calling it that, but I called it a shipwreck. I was like, my shipwreck of a love life. Oh, train wreck is what I used to be like my train wreck of a love life. But I don't know. If you apologize to me, which one for dinner? Because I'm so used to the terribleness.
So it is important to acknowledge when people are doing what they're supposed to do, even though we feel like it's not. But it's also important not to lower your standards based on your experiences. Like, you should still know what you want and wait for it, and not just be like, oh, well, you do this one thing that he didn't, so I'm going to accept this, I'm going to settle for this. Because that's dangerous. And I feel like as Black women, we feel that our options are so few that we will oftentimes settle for less than our standards if it's better than what we had before. So I just want to point that out.
So back up, because you got to expound on what you said, because what doesn't happen is just that. So there's not enough praise, and then when it's time for correction, it's not always on time. So it creates this stigma, the bad communication, so on and so forth. So for men, this is why you hear most men always talking about we tired of nagging women, because when I do right, you don't praise me for that. But every time I'm doing something wrong, you're Johnny on the spot with that thing.
Right.
So based off of what you're saying, that's what needs to be happening. You need to be praising me just as much as you knocking me.
No, I think you need to praise more.
Correct.
I think it should always be more praise than criticism, because people
Well,
don't
let's
grow
crawl on this thing first,
that way.
because
People don't grow that way. If you constantly criticizing and not praising, it's like, I don't know when I'm doing something right, because I'm going to assume that you're going to tell me. If you're telling me all the things I'm doing wrong, I'm going to assume that you're going to tell me when I'm doing something right. And if I never hear that, how do I know what's right? How do I know what you enjoy? How do I know what you want from me? So I definitely feel like it got to be more praise than criticism, or else I just feel like you ain't even going to be
let me say
reciprocal
this. More healthy praise, not manipulative praise.
No, I don't know what's this
Genuine,
manipulation
sincere.
piece.
Because
bro.
because
like,
you know
let's
what?
not do that.
No, you know why?
Let's not
Because
manipulate people.
people
So
do
bad.
stuff where, you know, and it'll come off like it's genuine and it's innocent when ultimately there was an agenda attached. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in a situation kind of similar where somebody was constantly gifting, and this is why now I don't be wanting stuff from people, because it's like, well, why you give me that? Where did that come from? What you do? Like, what do you want? What do I owe? You know what I'm saying? And it's in them arguments is when that stuff come out. Well, I bought you this. Sis, I didn't ask you for none of that. You chose to do that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, and people get offended, but I be so serious. Like, I be really nervous. Like, anytime somebody give me a gift, I be like, oh, thank you, but let's have a whole hour and a half conversation. I got 21 questions, and we're going to pray about it. I'm going to ask 21 more questions. We're going to pray again, and I'm still probably going to reject the gift. But understand that my heart says thank you, but listen, we need 3 years in. I need to see
Jesus.
something first. Nah, real talk.
I think that
It's dangerous.
the wanting to have a conversation is important. Like just being wanting and willing to have that conversation is important. We have to both be comfortable with what's occurring in this relationship. If I'm giving you something and that's not something you're comfortable with, then I should stop giving you stuff. That's the point of a relationship. Like there's no reason why. Cause I'm a giver. Like I like that feeling of giving somebody something. But if you're not enjoying it, then that's compromise, bro. We have to meet in the middle. We have to understand each other and what our needs are, because I don't understand what's the purpose of this relationship if one of us is unhappy in the other person's actions.
Conversation to me is the biggest downfall in a relationship.
Come on.
Downfall, Jesus.
Come on.
People don't like to communicate,
Nope.
and
we push for
communicating,
it so
you
hard.
assume that the other person is this way or wants this, or and it's not. You can't assume anything if you've never sat down and had this conversation with me. You know what I mean? You don't know what I like. You don't know what I want. You don't know what my expectations are if you don't sit down and we don't express these things together. So yeah, the conversation is.
It takes me back to last week's episode again, because it's like the different type of relationships. Because for me, it's almost like I'd rather, instead of you giving me, and then this is where the street in me step in, because it's like, oh, you gonna give me some money? All right, well, I'm gonna take your money, I'm gonna flip it, give it back to you with interest, so my debt is completely clear. So you can't ever come at me and be like, I gave you $100, but I gave you back $250. Don't do that. Like, let's just keep this slate clean. Like, so for me, it's like,
what is the interest rate on that? What? How long did you have this 100?
Nah, that's sometimes you gotta just throw the extra. Like, you be like, here, I'm getting this back to you with interest because I appreciate it and because I love you.
Anytime.
Here you go, like, right, the giver. That's why I was like, can you give me? But nah, sometimes for real, like for me, it's like, it's sad, but and I mean, unfortunately, right? Because the way we came up, it's almost like, like I said, for me, I'd rather just constantly, like, I keep my own record, so I don't need you to keep record. Mm-hmm. If anybody ever give me something, I'll be tallying that thing up. Oh, you got me a pair of Jordans. They cost X amount of dollars. So the minute there's an argument, let me just slide this to you right now.
Are people
like,
listening to what he's saying? How much work who is signing up for these situations? I genuinely need to know.
Listen, my notepad, my phone is full. I keep tallies, bro.
This is absurd. I am not volunteering for this type of stuff. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not.
I'm still back on the praise part because I'm the one who could never do anything right. It's so weird. I really be the dude in my relationships.
And that's always our conversations. You the dude and I'll be the whole female. Like,
I'm the one who can't never
tell me
do
that. You're the female.
And that's why I said you have to come with gender expectations removed, because I'm never going to be the female in my relationship.
Here's what's crazy. I do everything so wrong, but can't none of y'all stay away from me. How wrong must I be? If you just can't get enough, like, that's what be crazy to me.
But the other thing with that is it's control
and toxic.
No, at 110%.
It's 100% toxic. But my thing is, if I'm so bad, then you wouldn't want to, and you'll never admit it.
But it's not a matter of you being bad. It's a matter of you being so strong that I can't control you. You understand? So because you're strong, you're successful, you can get me to the launch. You can do all of these things. So what can I do? You understand? And it's not necessarily it doesn't always start out as toxic. It becomes toxic because that becomes the question internally. Like, yo, she doing all this by herself. So what can I do for her? So now I created this competition within me to where I gotta beat myself to be able to do something for you.
This is where I'm with Naya at this point. Because so basically what we're saying is I'm the ish. Praise God. So if I'm
come on, give her a round of applause. Can we get some likes and things on that?
if I'm the ish, you gonna create an issue. Like, you hear how crazy that sounds?
No, but that's exactly what we just said. For real.
I mean, it makes sense. It would explain some things. But my thing is like, if I'm so self whatever, and then all I want is you trying to figure out what you're gonna bring to it. You bring you to it. I wouldn't be with you if I didn't just want and love you. So y'all be wanting this, but then when you get somebody who gives it to you, it's like it scares the piss out of y'all, and y'all self-sabotage it. It's crazy to me.
So the same, and it works vice versa, because, unfortunately, your female counterparts do you no justice.
No,
Because of the atmospheres and the things that they create, this is what causes men to move and step in relationships in the way that they do. So then when something good and healthy comes, then it's like, we looking at you sideways like, what you really up to? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because her I saw coming. So I could either play her game, beat her at her game, or we could compete together. You, I can't figure out. So that's a problem for me. Oh, wait, this is real? Oh, you're really being genuine. Oh, I'm not used to this. Nah, she about to stab me in my sleep. She gonna poison my food. She about to take all my money. You finna do something.
That's what I'm talking about with gender expectations. And you talk about manipulation, that's a key manipulation ploy. Like, if I'm a man and I'm used to being able to control or manipulate my partners with that, or
Right.
with money, or with something, and now I don't know how to communicate with you, because that's not what we do. We manipulate, we don't communicate.
Right.
And now I can't manipulate you, which means I can't communicate with you, which means we can't go anywhere. I can't get the things that I'm used to getting with what I have, with what I'm used to using. Then I feel like a failure. That's where that comes in. That's where that insecurity and all of those things.
Yo, but you gotta take it back. You gotta take it back to even how we was raised, because providing is not just bringing money to the table. Just like you said, it wasn't until I had children where I realized the difference of quantity and quality. You understand? It was like, okay, I can go to work, I can make all the money in the world, I can do this, but if I'm not putting in that quality time with the family, I'm failing.
I thought you was gonna say something about how you went from 2 to 4.
Nah, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing all these things. There's a house, there's the car, there's the white picket, there's all this stuff. But y'all, all y'all see is my back, because I'm constantly going out the door to go to work. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta learn that balance. That's the other downfall in relationships. Communication and balance. They always on two different spectrums, and if you get one, it's like you ain't getting the other. So you better take what you can get and run with that thing. But there's no real balance on how to function in a relationship, and like you said, taking out those gender roles. But the crazy thing is, I'm sorry, but it's the females that create that. You get in a relationship, I'll just speak for me. I'll get in a relationship, I get the list of what she ain't doing, what she's willing to do, and then we gonna go from there. And when what she expects of me. There's never a two-way conversation. It's never, oh, okay, well, this is what I expect. This is what it's literally like, and men, we make the joke of that honey-do list, but it really does exist. Honey, can you do this, and this? Mm-hmm. And then ask a woman to cook for you. Now you offended. What? How we do that? But then you the same person who'll flip it and be like, don't be in my kitchen. But you ain't cooking. So why I can't be in the kitchen? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always this double when it comes to, and women now, it's even worse, because the millennials, it's like they have that old school way, but
No, only certain millennials.
right.
Because
But I also say, it also goes back to how you were raised. And I tell, because there's women who feel threatened by me, and there's women who will say things to me like, well, you have like a lot of female tendencies and mannerisms. No, I don't. I just know balance, and because I was raised by women, I have a better understanding of things. But instead of you looking at it in an appreciative way, you making an issue out of it. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, the fact that I can help you in areas where you might be lacking, or I can just help in areas around the house, period, it's a problem for you. You only want me to fix the toilet, but you don't want me to sew some curtains. What? If we can do it together, and for me, that's how I look at everything. I look at everything as a building opportunity. That's quality time. To me, so instead of you sending me off to fix the bathroom and you in the living room, you know what I mean, folding laundry, let's fold laundry together and let's have a conversation.
Right.
If you good at cooking and I'm good at cooking, let me do some of the sides and you do the main. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's another way for us to build and enhance our relationship. But you look at it as a threat. That's stupid to me.
I think, yet again, it is a bunch of goofy people getting good people and good people getting goofy. Legit. And this is why by the time two good people meet, one of them has been turned goofy.
No, facts. Everybody get tainted.
Because everything you're saying makes so, like, it's like everything is clicking now. Like, it's starting to make sense. And so, like, in my head, if I would... Shout out to Karen, because if I hadn't had the dopest mom ever, she's just everybody who meets her. If you don't like my mom, there's something wrong with you. All shade intended. So the thing of it is, if I hadn't had her at this, and she didn't have such character at this point, I'd be like, well, I might as well just play the game. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm not manipulative, because I try to understand, because I understand about being a good woman and how you gotta put them first. Like, I get it. Like I get the whole thing. I get how it goes. So the reward for that is because you've only had goofy people and you only know control and all that. So now I keep getting these, and unfortunately, it makes even more sense because I'm attracted to alpha males. Because as we discussed last week, I'm attracted to what I am. So I find it attractive because both of us, we run ish out here. If I wasn't saved, I'd be a queen pin. I tell people, like, absolutely. When people see all the stuff I'm getting ready to do, what I'm saying, they'll be like, she really would have been. Absolutely, I would have been. Absolutely. So I'm attracted to that. Not because I want somebody to take care of me, but I want somebody where we killing it together. Where they like, yo, them, like, they are.
Right, I'm all about that takeover.
Correct. So now because
let's do this together.
Because I'm so into that, y'all just used to controlling people with what you have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm not into what you have, instead of you really feeling loved for the first time because I love you, you see it as an issue. So at this point, if I didn't think that you had some divine plan, it would be give up time. They'd be like, well, I guess I should just become manipulative or a bird, or just because you can't even process healthiness. And I thought I was jacked up, but God, you can't even process healthiness because you just used to this unhealthy way. And you make it my fault that you're unhealthy. Like, that's insane.
But also, again, with not being able to identify it, because in my marriage, our biggest issue was, to him, manipulation is what love looked like. And for a lot of people, that's what love is. And they don't even know the difference. They don't know that that's manipulation. They don't know that that's not love. That's right. All they know. And as much as, and like Chris was saying about how we were raised and how much that plays into who we are, as much as I wish it didn't, because of all the things that I've been through in my life and who I am today, it's like, Jesus, I don't want to hold anything against anybody, but it's so necessary to know these things about people, because he believed that because of how he was raised, and because his mother made him believe that manipulation is what love looks like. And not for nothing, but if that's all you've ever known, who am I to come along and tell you different?
And,
honestly,
and if it works for them.
Exactly. And that's how we have to look at it, because I know, especially like in these situations when it keeps happening to us, it's like, dang, you start to feel down on yourself. Right. But really, it's really a check yourself. Like, yo, who am I to come along at 30, You've been living this way for 30 years, and now I'm telling you, well, this is what love's supposed to look like. You're going to look at me like I'm a fool.
Yeah.
So we just have to be real with ourselves because that's what we're expecting of them. So if nothing else, even if we have to distance ourselves, let me be the example that this is what it was supposed to look like, and I'm sorry that you're not able to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say kudos to you because, one, being confident and stepping out in boldness and branching out and doing you and being creative in your way. Two, this is what I call real R&B music because if you listen to music today, the conversation that we're having, music today plays a major fault in the conversation that we're having.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not buying me this, if you're not doing this, then you can't be with me or for me, this, that, you know what I mean? And there is a difference. Being with me and for me is two different things. Right? So if you can't buy me these $500 shoes, you ain't for me. Wait a minute. So let's rewind. When you were struggling down and out, I was with you. When you didn't have, I provided. When you only had, I gave you more. Now that you're here and I can't get all the way where you are now,
None of that matters.
I'm not for you? And it's crazy because I meet so many different people with different walks of life. And it's like, if you take somebody who's from the street compared to somebody who's never been in the street, the definition of loyalty is completely different. It's completely different. If you take a Reese who will ride for you, and then you take somebody who got all these stipulations, the definition of loyalty is two different things. And it's mind blowing of how you even manipulate loyalty. Like how do you do that?
That's not loyalty. If it can be manipulated, it is not loyalty.
That's
And you know
crazy.
that's a trigger word for me because oh child, let me calm down.
So because as a writer and as an R&B head, like, and even like when I'm trying to write for other people, when I'm trying to bring their vision and their story to life without manipulating or changing or, you know what I mean? Because words is key, and you took something so simple, this way, and it makes such a major statement. This way separates your way from my way, but it creates a way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that is the preacher in you.
Yeah.
That was a whole preacher moment.
Write that down. That'll be in next week's sermon. But it's like a play on words, but it's not. It's genuine. It's sincere. It's real. And you don't get that in music today. You don't listen to a song and get a message. You know what I'm saying? Like a feeling. You know what I'm saying? This song right here, like I said, you can sit around the fireplace and vibe to it. You can ride in the car and vibe to it. You can cry your eyes out but still be encouraged. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? It does a lot for the end listener. You know what I'm saying? And again, I respect you for being you, man, and just staying in your lane and being creative in that lane. A lot of people don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
A lot of people really don't know how to do that. And for me, I'm very hard on music. I am. I'm very, very hard on music. I can't stand. Shut up. No, because man, listen, when you come up in a house and everybody comes from a musical background, and like that was a part of our discipline. Like, if you didn't sing a note right, you got a beating. What? Yeah. Like, not.
Oh no! At choir rehearsal, in front of everyone.
In front of everybody.
Rehearsal stopped when you hit a note wrong. When you
always managed to hear me.
The whole choir is singing,
but you hear me.
Choir rehearsal is on pause until I get the note right. No,
right.
You gonna get it right, honey. And
you're gonna keep going over your note in front of everybody.
Because everybody gonna look at you crazy, so you gonna get that note right.
That sounds like my mom. So she used to do. She would wait till engagements though and get up there and stop everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah. they rehearse this, they're gonna sing it until they get it right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so-
That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yikes.
I just shrunk inside. I like PTSD just.
That's beautiful.
Yo, oh man, your mom is dope though. I can see that though.
Yes,
I
very
can see
much
that
so.
though, cause she be she about that life.
Yeah, she-
Yo, that's crazy.
That's
Oh
terrible.
man, no, but I'm very hard on because for me and actually for all of us in this room, music is our way of escape. So for me, it's like you playing with my life. You know what I'm saying? Like this was my only outlet, and then you gonna trash it with your nonsense? Nah, we're not doing that. You know, so I'm very hard on music and this nonsense. But I appreciate the song. I respect you. I mean, literally, the day it dropped. I mean, I've been watching your story from the studio sessions. So literally, the moment it dropped, I had that thing, and I've played it repeatedly. Like it's in rotation. It's in my everyday playing rotation because I have like certain things that I have to listen to get up to in the morning and stuff. So it's in rotation. So
I could die.
nah, again this way because I be like it starts like you. It starts that conversation in my head like if she would just listen, if she could just try it this way, like not for me but for us, like not for my sake but for our sake. Like if you hear what I'm saying. Like, and it's funny because I don't remember what episode it was. We talked one episode about how I don't even talk no more. I'll just write a song and I'll just send it to people. Like, just listen to this. I ain't talking no more. I ain't talking no more. I'm just write the song. I'm just singing the song. You listen to it and you give me your feedback and then let's see where the conversation goes. Based off of your feedback determines where you are for me maturity wise. Like, oh, so you still not getting the message? So it's not me. You didn't get it from me or the song? All right, thank you. God bless. Thank you for your time. And I just keep it moving on to the next.
I would like to say I think the horrible thing about gospel, here's what's funny. Me and Tony were in the house today, super hyped because Dawkins and Dawkins' Focus album is finally on iTunes. Thank God. And we were playing songs and Chelsea was like, this is gospel. And I said, Tony paused it. I said, now you see why it looks like there's no place for me there. I said, there used to be gospel that sounded like this.
Right.
Where they were creative.
Right.
Where it sounded like it was about life.
Right.
I said, it has been erased. I said, so now it's almost to the point where if you're creative, you feel jailed in gospel.
Yeah.
Because it's just worship.
You know.
If you're not doing worship, then you're not doing gospel.
That's so true.
And it's a shame that the commissions, the whinings,
That's what I was about to go to.
The people who did that, there's no DJ is the last of that. Everybody who did it is no longer doing it or has switched. So now, when kids who come up in church, because I talk to kids. I've been in. I've been in seminars or whatever they wanted me to talk, and I let them talk because I'm one of the few people where they'll actually open up. So I think it's important to let them talk. And it's a lot of kids in church that don't want to do twerk music, but they don't want to do worship music. They just want to make songs about life.
Right.
They love God, and they just want to. And this is what I tell people because people want to. It's funny because on Facebook, my music it does better on Instagram. Because the people on Facebook, you know me from church, they like the preacher. They don't like the rapper. And what people try to do is pin me into, somebody said to me, they said, you get your release when you preach that you don't get from that. I said, no, y'all get a release when I preach. I said, God makes me do that for y'all. I said, he gave me music for me. So this is why people don't know where to put me, and I'm fine with that. People always be like, well, what is she? And the funny thing is, none of them ask me. Other people who know me will be like, somebody was just talking like, well, what is Reese? Like, what does she do? Why y'all feel the need to define it? Like, why is that so important to you that you place me one spot and keep me there? Why isn't it just dope that I'm dope? And let's be the freak clear. If you listen to Meg and me, there's a huge difference in what's being discussed. So let's not play like I'm trying to play this line and I'm trying to be everything. Even in how we do what we do, you can still tell there's a difference in what we do.
Right.
I just wish that they made space for people to make songs about life. Because for some of us, this is how we breathe. This is how we keep sane.
So stop making it so that if we're not making y'all dance, or if we're not putting y'all into this witchcraft trance known as worship, then we're not doing gospel. Like why can't it just be good music sometimes? We single. We got relationships too.
Right.
We break up too.
Yeah.
We got that going on too. Why is it we can only talk about this and then everything? And what they do is they take a lot of people who could be making great real life or positive or gospel music in that way and force them out the door because they just want to be creative.
Absolutely. The funny, crazy thing is, my go-to love song, heartbreak song, encourage song, worship song. My go-to is The Ordinary Just Won't Do by Commission. Like, that song has gotten me through, like, every situation in my life. Like, I could compare a love story to that
I
song.
was going to say that got me through my first breakup. I was a jit. I ain't had no business. I'm a whole heathen, but bless the Lord, he knows my heart.
But it's crazy because, that's just... It was boxed as gospel, but this is why I feel like the industry really should just get away from genres.
They really should.
They should really get away from genres because that song can reach so many people, even till this day. That song came out how long ago? I mean, our parents listened to that song, so we were kids.
You know what's crazy? When we were at their concert, because we took Joni when they came last year in November, Tony looked over to me to say something. I had tears coming out my eyes. And the song it was, and this is why the Saints get on my nerves. I'm not even going to try to find a key way to say it. They irk the piss out of me. Because it has to sound this way. It has to be this tempo. And none of that makes any sense to me. The song was Victory Shall Be Mine. They were singing and God said, hold your peace.
Right.
Vengeance is mine. The enemy will bow down in due time. Hold your peace. I'll fight your battles. Victory shall be mine. Tony looked to talk to me, and I had all these tears coming out my face because it was so much going on. People was doing so much.
Right.
And just to hear it, like God being like, I got it. That ministered to me. I think it's a shame that if it's not a shout track or something slow, that y'all can't.
Right.
It's not ministering to you. Shame on you.
You'll see people sitting down too until it gets to that specific sound.
Yeah.
That what I mean?
Christian will tell you I've had to come up with ways to. Chelsea was going through YouTube. She said, "Reese, this song is hot." She said, "Why you?" She was Get Lost. She said, "Why aren't you doing this?" I said, "Because Chelsea, when they call me, they said they want 2 songs. I said I have to use one to get them on my side. I said, so I either gotta do Jesus Will. I gotta do the remix to the Hawkins song, Thank You Lord. I said, or I've come up with, what's that song? It Won't Lose. I said, I have to use a song to get them on my side. I said, so that only leaves me one to do after that. I said, so all these dope songs you hearing that you can't believe I'm not doing, I said, this is why. Because I gotta play these stupid games with them to get them on my side. I had to come up with the all yes he is that modulates because I gotta play the church game because black people love when you modulate.
Right.
So now I got that one that I can do. It's like it's a sin. It's not a song for black people unless you modulating. So you gotta dance them or you gotta worship them. And me and Tony had talked about it. I was like, Tony, I said I wish we could get Randall in the studio and write for him. Because it, like, you could see, like, creatively you were frustrated. People like for you to sing, they like the way you make them feel, they like all the runs and stuff. But I was like, creatively, he's not breathing. I was like, he's kind of over the group thing. I was like, Randall's ready to breathe. I said, and he can't. I was like, but I don't, because I don't never know where people hold me. Some people think highly of me, some don't. I really don't give a rat's anus to tell you the truth. But I wasn't sure where you were. But me and Tony was talking about it. Like, if we could get him in the studio to do, like, that commission type stuff. That they don't even realize how needed that is. Y'all have erased something it is detrimental.
Because they boxed it in the genre of gospel. Mm-hmm. If they would just take that stipulation off, man, music would go far.
Correct.
It would go so far. What you got? Go ahead.
So I was thinking about how, like everybody's saying the same thing. Like everybody uses the same phrases over and over and over again. And I was just thinking about how we're diminishing vocabulary and how we're removing creativity and originality. And I remember when I was a kid, we used to make up our own words and we used to make up our own sound effects to be different because we didn't want to sound like everybody else. And social media has made the world so small that everybody sounds like everybody. Legit. And it's just like we are not encouraging people to think for themselves. And so if we could remove that whole idea that everything has to be good or bad, everything has to be black or white, like I just feel like it could be a totally different world, a totally better world. If people can admit to themselves, like, that's not for me, and just move on, instead of criticizing and diminishing people's creativity, like, I just feel like we could just go places in life.
I think that's why you see a lot of artists now that are becoming, a lot of major artists, mainstream artists that are becoming more independent.
Yes.
Because their
and I thank them for it.
Yeah, their style of writing and their creativity is being diminished by the different labels, and the label dictates and tell them what they can and can't do, what they can and can't sing. You know how many tracks you can have on your album, and this doesn't work as a first single. Let's go for this song, and it's after a while it goes back to what Reese was saying. After a while, you mentally become disengaged with what you're singing about. Yeah, it becomes like it's not, and it relates to me because people ask me, like, oh, you don't do the whole gospel thing, and it's like I tell people, because I choose to sing another style of music does not dictate my relationship with Christ.
Oh, sorry.
Just because I choose to sing music about love or about heartbreak does not mean that I'm going to hell.
You bet.
There are tons of Christians out there who sing about Christ who are going to hell.
Talk about
there
it.
are tons of artists
Watch your
out there who
voice.
sing about love.
Correct.
Then you can't sit here and tell me that they're going to hell because they sing about that. You know what I mean?
Watch your tone, sir.
I'm in a place where it's sad to say, because I thought I would never get to the place where I would say that I'm turned off from church or turned off from singing gospel music.
You better gather these saints.
But I'm in that place where I want to be able to create music that I want to sing about. You know what I mean? I want to sing about love. I want to sing about, like, the project I'm working on. It's called Love Roller Coaster, and because everybody has heard this way, they're like, oh my God, your album. And it's believe it or not, it's not a album about being in love. It's more so of a heartbreak album. You know what I mean? Each song that I have on the project literally tells a story of something that I have gone through.
You better write and talk like how I like to.
Yeah, I have a song on there that I wrote to my dad. My dad and I don't have a relationship. My biological father never had one. And so I was in a counseling session, and my counselor had challenged me to write a letter to him. And so, in writing that letter, I was able to create a song about him. I have a song on it that I wrote about my mom called Superwoman, and it tells of the story of how she raised her family, when we were kids. And, she being married doesn't mean, people have the misinterpretation of, she's married or he's married and, they don't have to do anything on their own. But she was married, and she still had to do things for her family on her own. Just because she had a spouse in the house doesn't mean that he was present and he was doing what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just want to sing about music that I love. I want to sing about love. I want to sing about heartbreak. I want to sing about life. Yeah, and I want my music to be relatable to people. I want it to be something that people can play and say, this is something that I went through. You know what I mean? Or it goes back to, again, like we're saying, the whole, everybody's doing, and I think you mentioned it too, everybody's doing the whole, when we do worship music, everybody's got to have an O, and the O is the same way. You know what I mean? And it's nobody's doing anything different. Everybody wants to do the same. We want to follow the
worship today is so programmed.
Yeah, we want to follow the mainstream
segue
artists.
into the next song.
It is Broadway.
It is like
it has
what?
the best actors and actresses in the world. They some of the most in touch with God. They don't talk. They don't nothing, but they know how to behave when they get in churches. Corny. I just think, and let's be clear, music annoys me. Period, because all hip hop sounds the same. All R&B sounds the same. It ain't just gospel. It just annoys me.
This is why I said his
so
song
much time
is real
in
R&B for me.
Because you hear the stuff, you're just like this is terrible. People, Chelsea was naming people today. I was like, who? I was like, who?
I
She's
was,
like, I think you
I was
like her
laughing
brother.
so hard. I was thinking back of our code talk that we used to use.
Oh.
Remember how, because my mom used to do stuff. We used to be right in the car, had our own little code talk. We be talking about her the whole ride. And nobody never knew nothing. But
Do you remember when people used to get on because they sounded different? Like people used to sign
you know
people
what I
because
talk
they
about?
didn't sound like everybody
Right.
else.
What I talk about, especially in like the fashion.
God, I wish.
I remember when you actually had to look like something and
Yes.
have and it wasn't just a
Yes.
look. You had to have a talent. Like you had to be a package deal.
Correct.
Even though you was just walking down the runway, you still had to be able to sing. Right, you had to have some kind of gift or talent to get you on that runway. It wasn't just about modeling clothes. Like you had to look a certain way. Now anybody in there, God forgive me, because sometimes I'll be looking, I'm like, she ain't even cute. I remember you had to, you know what I'm saying? Like you had to look a certain way. Now
it's
just
like they want you to be strange. I see
strange
some
and naked.
people who are becoming models, and let me just say, I think it's great that we're embracing certain things, but like y'all, let's be for real. If y'all seen them on the street, you wouldn't think they was
But
cute.
some of the stuff we're embracing, a lot of it, and this is why people should study stuff, because a lot of it is demonic.
I'm just talking about in certain people's faces, like people. It's just some of these people are not cute, and you know that. But because you want to be different, and because we trying to like y'all quit the games, like cut it down.
Right.
It's just sad to me. Together.
Take us to the next verse.
Did you read it all? Was it just a repeat or?
I read the verse. I never read the hook. The hook says, "Why don't you kiss me this way?" Then the next verse is, "I never thought I would ever want someone to bring me everything you give. Baby, I like it this way. I never thought that I would want someone to share all the things I know with, baby." I'm pretty sure it was, "I like it this way" after that. And then it goes back into, "Why don't you kiss me this way?"
The awesome thing that I also like too, with even how it's written, you can change the music behind this and give it a complete different sound. And you can make this a pop song. Like you could do so much with just that. Like there's power in simplicity. I try to get this across to a lot of people that's in this creative world. It's not about always being so deep and so lost that you can't be found.
And you know what I think people will realize? I had this
She going through.
I had this conversation with one of my friends who is an artist, who is also a pastor. And I was trying to tell him, because his sound really is more R&B, and he goes out of his way to try to convince everybody that he is saved and loves the Lord, and I find it really to be annoying. But he was like, "Reese, sometimes I just wonder if I do that, then I worry about my church and stuff." I said, "What you mean?" I said, "You know what you don't realize, Mike?" I said, "The people that like that music are your members." I said, and this is what I'm going to do when I finally put out an album. I'm putting It Won't Lose on there right next to I Wish. Because what people don't realize is that the fan is the same. Sometimes you have to help people realize, like, you actually would like all of this together if it was just pet. That's why when people be like, "What are you?" I just let people think whatever they want.
I mean, David and Tamala did it. I mean, they had some very nice songs on there. On their R&B love album. Listen,
Don't say
Halls, there's a lot of people who have.
To me,
well, you know, it's only okay for church people once you're married, because then you can talk about, they don't want us talking about that.
Right. Because for me, I mean, that's always been my argument, man. Music is music, you know. And as long as you aren't, first of all, if you ain't singing about something that you ain't never lived,
Correct.
and then as long as you're not making that a daily practice of what the song is about, then what's the problem?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We overcome by the words of our testimony. Okay, so let me sing about this heartbreak. That's a part of my life. That's what got me to where I am.
Of my life personally is heartbreak. That is the center.
What I'm a heathen.
What I
don't understand is how people expect you to find a spouse and you're not supposed to date.
No, they want us to date, just don't make no music about it. Only sing about Jesus and how great he makes you feel.
Or
how good he is.
As a couple.
But even in that's still messy. Church people need to mind their business.
It was okay for them to do it then,
right?
But it's not okay.
People
for you
just
to do
need
it
to
now.
mind their business.
And once you have a certain, I don't want to say ranking, but once you hold certain positions, your humanity is gone.
I've always often have said this. You and I have had this conversation as well. People being in your business and the things that they have said concerning your business has created things that you weren't even thinking about doing or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I remember being in relationships and always being accused of cheating. Cheating never even crossed my mind. But now since you keep bringing it up, never thought about it. Never considered it. You know what I mean?
Power.
In a relationship with somebody, somebody always constantly in my face, don't be fornicating, this, that, or sex was never even in the forefront.
Yep.
We were so focused on building each other up and figuring out what we wanted to do, whatever, blah, blah. You keep talking about sex. Now that's all I'm thinking about.
Absolutely, because you keep...
I learned more about pornography from the church, but you don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about it every week. So, I'm sorry. Yep, now I found my way there. It's never crossed my mind.
I personally think the church would be way more effective if gospel music albums were complete about everything. I think that would be so effective and so much more relatable if it covered all areas of life instead of just this one specific area. The same way I don't like that all female rappers just want you to eat their box and buy them stuff. I think that's whack. I don't like anything that's just one dimensional and there's no other facet to it. And because if you want to go back to winning people, because the fact of the matter is, no matter how goofy church is, Jesus is still the dopest thing ever.
Right.
So if we could make it relatable to where people feel like they understand it, because you got to realize when you're only talking about worship, somebody who's not saved don't know worship because they don't worship him. So if you want to win anybody, they will realize that the need for this kind of music there is a bigger demand for it than you ever really will understand. If you want to win, this is the new track to hand out. When you knock on doors, hand them one of these full albums where it talks about the heartbreak, where it talks about the disappointment, where it talks about the sleepless night. Like, do everything and just bring it full circle.
And how
that
you still
would
here
be
to
so
talk about
effective.
it and the steps that you took to overcome.
Correct. But what do we know?
To hit the top of the mic.
What do we know?
I definitely want to encourage you, man. Keep going. And I've read some of the comments, and this is why I don't do social media.
Me either. I haven't seen any of it.
Because I've read some of the comments when you go live in the studio and some of the questions and some of the things people said.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hit you up like, can I just defend you just for today? Like I wanted to respond. You know what I mean? Like, yo, just shut up. Mind your business.
And if you're not
encourage
with it,
them. If it's not for you,
live.
then get off the live. You know what I mean? You stop by here and watch this.
Right.
So and you're watching for a reason. So while you steady trying to throw shade, but you still gonna buy the album and it like Just stop,
But, and
y'all.
not for nothing, but that's how you gotta look at stuff like that. Like, if I'm making them talk, they're gonna pay. That's gonna send my streams up. Like, you literally have to
One
think
thing
about
I've
stuff
always
like
told her was, make everything a form of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
that. Legit.
Flip it.
Yep.
Make everything a form of marketing.
I used to be in a place where I would allow people's words to affect me, but I'm when I tell you there is a piece that I have, I am okay.
You actually
okay
look
if-
different. You look peace. Like
yeah,
you got some
I'm
peace. You
okay.
do.
Besides the fact of being tired right now, but I'm telling you, I am okay if everybody was to walk away tomorrow. I'm okay with I'm content with. I'm okay with being by myself. I couldn't always say that before. You know what I mean? I'm okay with. I'm confident in the music that I'm doing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's stuff that I love. Like I said, I'm not doing this record for anybody but myself. You know what I mean? Because this is something that I get to get off of my chest. I get to share my music, my stories, with people. And I don't, not that I have to, you know what I mean? But it's just something that I wanted to do. I'm doing it for me. So for somebody to come to me and tell me, oh, I didn't like that song, or, okay. I mean, that's your opinion. Thank
Right.
you for that. You know what I mean?
But thank you for the purchase.
Right.
Because you bought it and you had to listen to it in order
Exactly.
not to like it.
What
So thank you.
streams
So-
it? So either way,
Thank you for your support.
Right.
Right.
Sorry you didn't like it, but I'm not.
Exactly.
And not for nothing, but this, I can only talk about me. Worship works in church. Sometimes. It does not work in my car. That is not what I want to listen to when I'm in the car. And this is where people gotta be realistic. Unless you legit try and be deep all the time, you do not. When you get in the car and stuff, that's not what you playing, my nigga. Like, let's get for real. When you in the house, that's not what you playing. 9 times out of, unless
Listen.
something's going on and you specifically need to try to praise your way through a worship, and not for nothing, but when I worship, Christians see me. I don't turn on that stuff. No way. Like, I worship with Tony. Like, I'm different. That's me.
I tell all the saints before they get in my car, if you want to ride with me, please understand. This thing gonna go from twerk to worship
Oh, yeah.
to
I'm the
So
same
he
way.
played like, but
to
he say this
hip-hop,
stuff,
to-
but when he get in work, like when we been on our way to church, the stuff he play, I'm like, what is this? What the heck? Like, I thought we was together on our feelings about this. What is this? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I play, and I tell people, do not touch anything up here.
right
So,
off limits.
Yeah, I control this. This is my vehicle.
To connect that with the song, women, when we in a relationship, don't get in my car and touch nothing, please.
This
If
chicks
you-
be so opposite of
if you
everything
wanna-
I do. Just be like,
If you would like to hear us, sing.
conversations, I'm like, who are y'all
I
dating?
don't
Who
know.
are y'all talking to?
I don't
What is
know. 'Cause
happening?
I don't do none of it. I be like,
But you know what's crazy? I remember there was a time when you would get in somebody's car and you would ask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now people just get in your car, they start eating it. You mind if I eat in your car? Nigga, you're already eating in the car. And my car now smell like you're stinking food.
let me just give all y'all because I almost said something. Let me just give all y'all a heads up that think y'all want to date Christian. He is OCD to the 100th power. Don't eat in his car. Don't eat in his house. Only eat at the kitchen table on that little skinny table. Don't bring that food nowhere. If you comb your hair, pick up every strand
Oh,
of hair
and sweet,
that
please.
fell
Oh, God,
on the
I'm the same way.
floor.
I hate
You
that.
got
I
to.
hate
You
that.
forgot about the placemat on the table.
You shouldn't be eating at the table without a place.
In here, don't sleep on his couch. He hate that. I was drooling on it too. I was like, that thing probably mad with me. Like, don't do anything. Okay, just don't do nothing. Buy a new pair of shoes and wear them here. Put them on the steps so there's no mud on your shoes. So if you eat sloppy, if he takes you on
Oh,
a date,
she
order
is
a
terrible.
smoothie, don't eat
But
no
telling
food.
the truth.
I'm just trying to help you. If you try to win with this man and you think you want to be with him, I'm giving
You don't have
the
to wear
label.
new shoes. Just put plastic bags over yours.
If you gonna wear heels, let it be a real heel.
And you better be able to walk in a heel. Y'all stop putting on these heels and can't walk. Get on my doggone nerves with that.
He
Sorry.
don't like little heels, so if you gonna do it right.
And get a heel. Don't you come in here with that square block. That's like the third wheel on a motor. That's not a motorcycle. God, if you gonna wear a heel, you better wear a heel. And you better walk. Don't trip, because I'm going to laugh. And don't fall, because I'm going to fall with you, because I'm trying to help you up, but laugh too hard because you fail.
Don't chew
Amen.
with your mouth open.
Shout out to all y'all who are subjecting yourselves to this dating nonsense. Shout out to all of y'all who are trying to build healthy friendships with
Cows
unhealthy
chew with their
people.
mouths open. That's how we was raised.
But it's, I mean, life.
Nobody want to hear
without-
that smacking.
The only reason I bother is because I won't tell all the truth. I wouldn't like this. I know, because sometimes I'm too goddamn transparent and people just ain't the freak ready. So let me just tailor it. The truth of the matter is the way you wake up when you just gotta be focused on things, and the way you wake up when you in love is different. Like when you got love, life just feels better. Like it's like you see butterflies and stuff. Like it's
Right.
just fantastic. So it's just something that I can't give up on. It has not gone well at all.
I was just about to say that's beautiful until she get
But I can't. It's just it's worth fighting for. You know, I don't have kids. You know, I would like to have a kid or two. Like for God's sake, jeez. And Christian be like, "What's the rush?" Because I be telling him like, Christian, I'm like, I be talking about my age, and he be like, "Well, what is your thing with that?" Because I want to get pregnant and not get humongous after I have it.
Right.
You know, because at a certain age, stuff starts happening and people have kids and they don't recover after that. Like I'm still trying to be sexy.
Listen, some of these people have children at very young ages.
And don't.
It
That's
never
true.
And their child
Right.
is 6 years old and they still looking like humpalumpa.
And you ask them like, what happened? They be like, well, I had a baby. Your child's 8.
Baby weight.
Yeah.
Baby life.
Right.
Yes, baby.
Oh,
with
this is
your
my
child.
baby. Hey, which
child's
stomach
eight.
is the baby? Because you got 3 of them. Now pick which one came from the baby and which one came from that burger.
Well, have more than one child. You can name the roles after.
Oh, y'all are terrible. I love every roll with gravy.
But I always tell people when they ask me for relationship advice, I always say, don't listen to me. And the reason why is because what she just said, I have no experience with. Like, the feelings that she's talking about, I'm like, no. My idea of what a relationship is supposed to be hasn't been shared with people. Like, I don't think that they feel the same way about relationships. And
It's the reason why her hand looks like
romantic.
that.
I'm not just talking about romantic either. I'm saying in general, I just think that people have a different idea of what healthy relationships are than what I do. And even when I see people go through heartbreak and the way that they handle it is completely different than how I handle my heartbreak. Because I just be looking like, like that's what we finna do about this?
Right.
Okay. Like I just can't relate to certain things, so my experiences are different, my perspective is different, so take my advice with a grain of salt.
When she said romantic, I had a whole argument. This don't got nothing to do with nothing, but I just want to say it. I had a whole argument with somebody. Now, mind y'all, I'm not a lesbian, ain't never been. This was an argument with a man. The argument was, I'm not romantic. So, because I try to be a good woman and have conversation, and I feel like if you with me, I want you to make me happy, so I'm going to go out my way to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not doing what you want, instead of getting mad, mature Reese is going to ask you, what do you want? I said, I'm not romantic. No, you're not. I said, okay. I said, give me an example of what romance is to you so I know. That man, that 6'5", over 300-pound man, said back to me, I'm not going to tell you what it is. You should know what it is. If I'm not doing it,
Well, to me,
And you're not gonna
that tells
tell
me
me.
he don't know what it is.
well then don't
It's based
complain
on his
about it.
expectations from
Right.
previous experiences.
So give me an example of that. I'm not asking you to be smart or argue. I'm asking you so you can give me an example because I thought it was. I'm not going to argue with you about me being or not being. That's not important. I want us to be happy. This is where you find out people are crazy. Because when you try to take the steps to make people genuinely happy, they don't want to be happy. They want to argue. They don't actually want to resolve. They like the drama that leads. It's like you're insane. I said, well, give me an example. So I know. No, I'm not gonna give you an example. You should already know. You should do some research. And nigga, are you out of your freaking mind? Like who? Boy, bye. Nobody is going through all of that. Like they're just. I just wanted to talk about that for a second because I'm legit am the man, because you hear men say all the time that women think that y'all are supposed to read their minds. I just want y'all to know that you have some counterparts out there. You have some species out there who they are legit girls. I just wanted that to be known for everybody on Facebook and everywhere else. Some of them were boxers in the front and thongs in the back.
Lord
just
Jesus.
saying. They have
It's
lace.
real.
Praise God.
I want to share my testimony though
Go
about
ahead.
my hand. So I was opening a
She said
can
her testimony.
and the can opened my thumb. And 6 stitches, I'm good.
Oh my God.
But the life lesson here is sometimes the healing hurts more than when it's messed up. You can apply that how you will. And I just want to say in closing, because I think we're about to wrap up. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to shout out today. So shout out to Mookie.
Happy birthday, Luke.
Word.
And you better be watching.
Yeah, I'm sure she out on the streets, but that's cool.
Well, you didn't include the part of the testimony how this thug walked around a whole day with her thumb like that, and I told this lady to go to the hospital.
So I
The
told
thing
Jacob,
wide open. I'm like, sis, I need you to go because
I told Jacob, who was the very nice young Polish man who zipped me up, I call it. I said to him, I said, I'm willing to lose my thumb if it means I keep my lungs, okay? I was not about to go into that hospital and risk COVID for no thumb. But I worked through my anxiety room by myself real quick, you know? It was all good. Yeah, it was all good.
Forgot all about that.
But y'all, if y'all would have saw how this thumb was just open and she all like, where the band-aids at? Ain't no
That would have been me. I still wouldn't have.
It took me like a day and a half.
It would be red because I still would have been just wrapping it and changing it.
Well, the thing was, it wouldn't stop bleeding, so I just had to go.
And Christian, no, I'm telling the truth. Then I had some stuff where he was like, Grease, go to the house. Like, he legit was scared to death. And I never went. I sure didn't.
Oh my
I feel
God.
good today, but normally I'm okay. So, you know, it turned out all right.
All right, Lewis, we enjoyed you, man.
did.
Definitely
I
enjoyed the
appreciate it. I
track.
had a great time with you guys.
Let everybody know, drop your social media and where they can get the song. And it's out on all media outlets, right?
Yeah, so the song is available on all digital outlets. It's called This Way. You have to type in r.lewis. That's r.louis. My Facebook is Randall Potter. My Instagram is Mr. _Randall Potter. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have a Snap. I'm pretty boring when it comes to social media. So yeah, it's just those two. That's the only way you'll be able to get to me. My album will be out in April.
April, okay.
I pretty much did all the writing on it. My sister, she did it right, this way.
Now, which sister?
Amanda, my younger sister.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh.
My cousin produced the album. He produced This Way. He produced the full record. His name is George. He goes by Stretch Gio.
Stretch.
Yeah, he produced the entire project.
Okay.
There's a few features on there as well. Yeah, so
Dope art cover, too.
thank you. That was done.
I never
Don't
saw
quote me. I forgot his
faces
name.
till then.
Gio. Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I don't know. He did the artwork. I had to get that done in like 2 days. Yeah.
I understand.
So yeah, the album's pretty much done. Just finished that out. About to do a photo shoot. About to actually go into a few meetings to do a video to This Way.
Okay.
So it's all coming together. I'm just taking my time, enjoying the ride.
That's what's up, man. So listen, y'all already know y'all can go back. Y'all can catch tonight's replay on all of our media outlets, iHeart Radio, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Anchor FM, Podbean, Podcast, yeah, all that stuff. So y'all go back, y'all catch the replay. We appreciate all of our supporters, all of our listeners. Y'all listen. Dude, I think what month are we in? November.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of this
We
month
are.
and going into December, I think every week we have a different feature coming on. And it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting. It's getting interesting. It's always, y'all already know how we do it. It's always good talk. It's always good conversation here. So y'all tune in every Saturday, 7 o'clock. Again, drop all your social media, the 2 that you have.
Right. So Instagram is Mr._Randall Potter, and Facebook is just Randall Potter.
So y'all please, y'all go, y'all follow him. Go download this song.
That's right.
Buy it. Please support him. It is a good song. Y'all know if I'm talking about it and I listen to it repeatedly, because I do
And
listen
if
to a lot of stuff. But
Listen carefully. He does not say this about every song that is the feature of.
Calling out,
why would
shorty.
you do that? Amen. Now you see people gonna go back and listen to replays like he didn't say that name. Yeah, I'm supporting that stamping R. Lewis though. Please, y'all go, y'all support him.
That stamp thing.
Please
Is
do.
I can't. We're logging off. We appreciate y'all. Stay tuned every week, bringing lyrics to life. Peace.